Epizod pierwszy. The first turnabout. No tak, zagraj. Odblokowano osiągnięcie. Pierwsze kroki. Gasp, gasp. Nie ma jeszcze oficjalnego tłumaczenia trylogii Ace Attorney. No jest w ogóle tłumaczenie do którejkolwiek gry? No chyba, że fanowskie. Damn it, why me? I can't get enough. Not like this. I've gotta find something quick. Someone like him. I'll make it look like he did it. Nie ma to jak pokazać nam na dzień dobry, kto jest tym złym. August 3rd, 9:47 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. Boy, I am nervous. Right. Hi, Chief. Phew, I'm glad I made it on time. Well, I have to say, Phoenix, I'm impressed. Not everyone takes on a murder trial right off the bat like this. Ty sobie dużo tłumaczyłeś i oglądałeś sporo, więc pamiętasz dużo. To dobrze, bo jak gdzieś się zablokuję, to będziesz w stanie mnie nakierować. It says a lot about you and your client as well. Thanks. Actually, it's because I owe him a favor. A favor? You mean you knew the defendant before this case? Yes. Actually, I kind of owe my current job to him. He's one of the reasons I became an attorney. Well, that's news to me. I want to help him out any way I can. I just really want to help him. I owe him that much. It's over. My life, everything, it's all over. Is that your client screaming over there? Yep, it's him. Death, despair. Oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Kłaczek. Się cicho zrobiło, kurde. Muzyka ucichła, żebym, nie wiem, się wykaślał, czy co? Ogólnie skok graficzny jest tak długi, że nawet starcy czują się młodzi. No, to jest tak zwany trochę visual novel z elementami point and clicka. Nie wiem, do czego to porównać, kurde. Gra detektywistyczna. Boże. It sounds like he wanted to die. Yeah. The fuck, co z jego oczami? Nick. Bac! Zajebiste imię. Hey there, Larry. Dude, I'm so guilty. Tell them I'm guilty. Give me the death sentence. I am afraid to die. What? What's wrong, Larry? Oh, it's all over. I'm finished. I can't live in a world without her. I can't. Who took her away from me, Nick? Who did this? Oh, Nick. You gotta tell me who took my baby away. The fuck? Over a criminal adventure. The person responsible for your girlfriend's death. The newspapers say it was you. Bac to nazwisko, Larry to jego imię. No, zajarzyłem, że on do niego mówi Larry. Ale chodzi mi o to, że Butts to ma naprawdę fajne nazwisko. Brzmiące prawie jak dupa. Dupy. Butts. My name is Phoenix Wright. Here's the story. My first case is a very simple one. Ta krew. A young woman was killed in her apartment. The guy they arrested was the unlucky sub dating her. Larry Butts, my best friend since grade school. Our school had a saying, when something smells, it's usually the butts. No, pasuje. Visual Novel Criminal Adventure. Boże, dłuższej nazwy gatunku nie potrafili stworzyć. Znowu jest cichutko. In the 23 years I've known him, it's usually been true. He has a knack for getting himself in trouble. One thing I can say though, it's usually not his fault. He just has terrible luck. But I know better than anyone that he's a good guy at heart. And I owe him one, which is why I took the case, to clear his name. Sam tak sklasyfikowałeś tę grę w skrócie VMCA, ok? YMCA, and that's what I'm going to do. Trzeci sierpnia, 10. District Court to jest sąd rejonowy. Pokój numer 2. Czy tam sala rozpraw numer 2. O Boże. Wiesz, z kim on mi się kojarzy? Załóż mu czapkę Mikołaja i mamy Mikołaja. Ho, ho, ho. The court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Larry Butts. Ho, ho, ho. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Mr. Wright? This is your first trial, ho ho, is it not? Yes, Your Honor, I'm a little nervous. You conduct during this trial or decide the fate of your client. Murder is a serious charge. For your client's sake, I hope you can control your nerves. Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, given the circumstances, I think we should have a test to ascertain your readiness. Ho ho ho. Yes, Your Honor. Hands shaking, eyesight fading. The test will consist of a few simple questions. Answer them clearly and consciously. Wybacz, ale to będzie dzisiaj częsty widok. Sędzia zwykle jest comic relief. Please state the name of the defendant. Larry Butts. The defendant? Well, that's Larry Butts, Your Honor. Correct. Just keep your wits about you and you'll do fine. Next question. This is a murder trial. Tell me, what's the victim's name? You, I know one. I'm glad I read the case report cover to cover so many times. It's... wait. Uh-oh. No, I forgot. I'm drawing a total blank here. Phoenix, are you absolutely sure you're up to this? To zdziwienie na jej twarzy. You don't even know the victim's name? The victim, of course I know the victim's name. I'm just forgot, temporarily. I feel a migraine coming on. Look, the victim's name is listed in the court record. Just press tab to check it anytime. Nie tab. Tu pisze tab, a że gram na padzie, to na dole na pasku pod tym okienkiem z tekstem widać prawy bumper. Attorney badge. No one would believe I was a defense attorney if I didn't carry this. Cindy's autopsy report. Aha. Cause of death, loss of blood due to blunt trauma. Okay. Mia Fey, chief attorney at Fey and Co. My boss and a very good defense attorney. Larry Batts, the defendant in this case, a likable guy who has been my friend since grade school. Cindy Stone, fajne imię. The victim in this case, a model, she lived in an apartment by herself. Winston Payne. The prosecutor for this case lacks presence, generally bad at getting his points across. Czyli... Cindy Stone. Remember to check it often. Do it for me, please, I'm begging you. Mr. Wright, who is the victim in this case? Cinder Block. Cindy Stone. The victim's name is Cindy Stone. Animacje w tej grze są super? Tak, zgadzam się. Correct. Now, tell me, what was the cause of death? She died because she was hit with a blunt object. No tam w tej autopsy report pisało a blunt trauma. She was struck once by a blunt object. Correct. You've answered all my questions. I see no reason why we shouldn't proceed. You seem much more relaxed, Mr. Wright. Good for you. Thank you, Your Honor. Because I don't feel relaxed, that's for sure. Well then, first a question for the prosecution. Mr. Payne? Yes, Your Honor? As Mr. Wright just told us, the victim was struck with a blunt object. Would you explain to the court just what that object was? The murder weapon was the statue of the thinker. It was lying on the floor next to the victim. I see. The court accepted into evidence. Statue added to the court record. A statue in the shape of the thinker. It's rather heavy. Right. Be sure to pay attention to any evidence added during the trial. That evidence is the only ammunition you have on court. Use right bumper to check court frequently. Mr. Payne, the prosecution may call its first witness. Ho ho ho. The prosecution calls the defendant, Mr. Batts, to the stand. Wolnomyśliciel pozwolił Stone naprawdę wolno myśleć, nawet tak, że zmarła. No cóż. Nauczyła się używać 0% swojego mózgu po prostu. Chief, what do I do now? Pay attention. You don't want to miss any information that might help your client's case. You'll get your chance to respond to the prosecution later, so be ready. Let's just hope he doesn't say anything unfortunate. Oh, Lara gets excited easily. This could be bad. Jaką ma minę. Ahem. Mr. Butts, is it not true that the victim had recently dumped you? Hey, watch it, buddy! We were really great together. We were Romeo and Juliet, Cleopatra and Mark Antony. Kto? Cleopatra i Mark Antony. Didn't they all die? I wasn't dumped. She just wasn't taking my phone calls or seeing me ever. Was it to you anyway? Mr. Butts, what you describe is generally what we mean by dumped. In fact, she had completely abandoned you and was seeing other men. She had just returned from overseas with one of the day before the murder. What do you mean, one of them? Lies, it's all lies. I don't believe a word of it. Your Honor, the victim's passports. According to this, she was in Paris until the day before she died. The victim apparently arrived home from Paris on 7:30, the day before the murder. 30 lipca, okej, oni piszą daty na odwrót, kurwa. Paszport dodany do zbioru dowodów. Indeed, she appeared to have returned the day before the murder. Dude, no way. The victim was a model, but did not have a large income. It appears that she had several sugar daddies. Daddies? Sugar? Yes, older men who gave her money and gifts. She took their money and used it to support her lifestyle. Dude. Gość o niczym nie miał pojęcia. We can clearly see what kind of woman this Mr. Stone was. Tell me, Mr. Butts, what do you think of her now? Right? I don't think you want him to answer that question. Yeah, Larry has a way of ruining his mouth in all the wrong directions. Should I wait and see what happens? Stop him from answering. No zatrzymajmy go od odpowiedzi. Phoenix, bo dziurę w tym biurku zrobisz. My client had no idea the victim was seeing other men. That question is irrelevant to this case. If wines? Nie znam tego słowa. Może zaskoczenie, albo że zesztywniał? Nie wiem. Dude, Nick, what do you mean irrelevant? That cheating she-dog. I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna drop dead. Yeah, and when I met her, I'm going to the bottom of this. Strasznie szybko przeleciał ten poprzedni kwadrat. Taka ciekawostka. Gra odbywa się w japońskiej Ameryce. Jesteśmy w Kalifornii. W japońskiej Ameryce. Okej. Let's continue with the trial, shall we? Ho, ho, ho. I believe the accused motive is accused motive is clear to everyone. Yes, quite. Oh boy, this is not looking good. The next question. You went to the victim's apartment on the day of the murder, did you not? Hmm? Well, did you or did you not? Maybe I did and maybe I didn't. He went. What do I do? Nie mogę go zatrzymać przed odpowiedzią na te pytanie, bo to jest pytanie, które dotyczy sprawy, więc musimy czekać chyba. I know, I'll send him a signal. Tell the truth! Yeah, I was there. I went in. I went. Wines to grymasić się lub drgać albo skrzywiać się, czyli drgnął, o to chodziło. Order! Well, Mr. Butts. Chill. She wasn't home, man. So like, I didn't see her. O Boże, ten głosik! Objection! Your Honor, the defendant is lying. Lying? The prosecution would like to call a witness who can prove Mr. Butts is lying. Well, that simplifies matters. Who is your witness? The man who found the victim's body just before making the gruesome discovery. He saw the defendant fleeing the scene of the crime. Order in the court. Mr. Payne, the prosecution may call his witness. Yes, Your Honor. This is bad. On the day of the murder, my witness was selling newspapers at the victim's building. Please bring Mr. Frank Sawit to the stand. To jest Sahit czy Sawit? Chyba Sawit. Mr. Sawit, you sell newspaper subscription, is this correct? Nie wiem, jaki głos mu dać. Oh yes, newspapers, yes. Mr. Sawit, you may proceed with your testimony. Please tell the court what you saw on the day of the murder. Witness testimony, czy tam witness account. I was going door to door selling subscriptions when I saw a man fleeing an apartment. I thought he must be in a hurry because he left the door half open behind him. Thinking it strange, I looked inside the apartment. When I saw her lying there, a woman, not moving, dead, I quailed and found myself unable to go inside. I thought to call the police immediately. However, the phone in her apartment wasn't working. I went to a nearby park and found a public phone. I remember the time exactly. It was 1 p.m. The man who ran was without a doubt the defendant sitting right over there. Frank Sawit to taki hindus, możesz dać hinduski akcent. A jaki jest hinduski akcent? Larry, why didn't you tell the truth? I can't defend you against this a testimony like that. Incidentally, why wasn't the phone in the victim's apartment working? Your Honor, at the time of the murder, there was a blackout in the building. Aren't phones supposed to work during a blackout? Yes, Your Honor. However, some cordless phones do not function normally. The phone that Mr. Sawit used was one of those. Your Honor, I have a record of the blackout for your perusal? For your perusal. Okej. Poduczę się angielskiego przy tej grze trochę. Blackout record. Electricity to Miss Stone's building was out from noon to 6 p.m. on the day of the crime. Okay. Now, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. You may begin your cross-examination. Cross-examination, Your Honor? All right, right. Piękne. This is it. The real deal. What exactly am I supposed to do? Why? You exposed the lies in the testimony the witness just gave. Lies? What? He was lying? Your client is innocent, right? Then that witness must have lied in his testimony. Or is your client really guilty? How do I prove he's not? You hold the key. It's in the evidence. Compare the witness testimony to the evidence at hand. There's bound to be a contradiction in there. First, find contradictions between the court record and the witness testimony. Then, once you've found the contradicting evidence, present it and rub it in the witness face. Okay? Open the court record with right bumper, then point out contradictions in the testimony. Okay. Perusal to uważne przeczytanie. Aha. No, wiedziałem, że mi się bardziej wydawało, że do wglądu albo do czegoś, ale no to bardziej pasuje do przestudiowania, tak jakby. Aha, czyli to jest z powrotem to samo. I was going door to door, selling subscriptions when I saw a man fleeing an apartment. Spróbujmy na każdym zdaniu go przepytać dokładnie, o co mu chodzi. Isn't a man living in an apartment a common sight? I find it odd you would take notice of him. I don't know. He just seemed strange to me, that's all. Like he was mad and yet frightened at the same time. Just like a criminal fleeing the scene of crime. The defense requests that the witness refrain from conjecture. Of course, what the witness means is that the man he saw looked suspicious. So what happened next? I thought he must be in a hurry because he left the door half open behind him. Hold it! Half open, you say? Yes, the door was open halfway, yes. I watched for a moment, but no one came to close the door. That's odd in a big city like this, I thought. I see. And what happened next? Thinking it's strange. It's powinno być strange. I looked inside the apartment. Then I saw her lying there, a woman, not moving, dead. A, wróć się. Tu go nie przepytaliśmy. What gave you the idea to do that? Well, the door was half open, you see. Isn't it only human to want to peek? We climb mountains because we are there. We climb mountains because they are there. Isn't the same thing. Sure words have never been spoken. Anyone would look inside. Why did pain cut him off so quickly? So, you turned into the apartment, looked into the apartment. What happened next? Then I saw a woman lying there, not moving, dead. Are you sure she was dead? Well, no, I guess I wasn't. But she wasn't moving at all, and there was blood everywhere. I guess that would look fatal to anyone. Very well, what happened next? I qualified and fried and found myself... Nie qualified. I quailed in fright and found myself unable to go inside. Quailed, czyli że zeżarł go strach? O to chodzi? Okej. So you didn't touch anything in the apartment? Yes. I mean, no, nothing. Okay, what happened next? I thought to call the police immediately. You thought to call the police? Does that mean you didn't actually call them? Please, listen to the rest of the testimony. You thought to call the police. What happened next? However, the phone in her apartment wasn't working. The phone in her apartment wasn't working. Yes, I mean, no, it wasn't working. But you said you didn't go into the apartment, or did you? I can explain that. There was a cordless phone on a shelf in the entrance. I reached inside and tried using that to call. And that phone wasn't working, correct? What happened next? I went to a nearby park and found a public phone. Why use a public phone? Well, you see, I don't have a cell phone. And being in the middle of afternoon, there was no answer at the nearby apartments. Alright, what time did you call again? I remember the time exactly, it was 1 PM. 1 PM? Are you certain? Yes, absolutely. He seems really confident. 1 PM? Right, doesn't that seem strange to you? Press some evidence to contradict him. Czy tam nie było blackout, czyli zaniku prądu aż do 6 rano? Spróbujmy zaprezentować ten blackout record. Objection! This evidence clearly reveals the contradiction in that statement, Your Honor. How exactly are that evidence and the statement just now related? They aren't they? Not at all. Mr. Wright, please think the facts over before making accusations. I don't think that won me any points with the judge. The man who ran was without a doubt the defendant sitting right over there. Are you absolutely 100% positive? Yes, it was him, no mistake about it. The witness says he's certain. That's all of it. There must be a contradiction in there somewhere. Examine the court record. If something strikes you as being suspicious, then find the evidence that contradicts his testimony and present it to the court. No one would be... I seen the autopsy. Time of death. 31 lipca między 4 a 5 p.m. Zaraz! Aha! On dzwonił o 1 p.m. kiedy ona jeszcze żyła. Aha, czyli to mam przedstawić, a nie blackout. Raport sekcji zwłok. No tak, doszedłem do tego. Okej, to znajdźmy... To, że dzwonił o 1 i przedstawmy mu autopsy report. Muzyka się zatrzymała, to chyba dobrze. You found body at 1 p.m. You're sure? Yes, it was 1 p.m. for certain. Frankly, I found that hard to believe. Your statement directly contradicts the autopsy report. The autopsy notes the time of death at some time. The time of death. The autopsy notes the time of death at some time after 4 p.m. There was nobody to nobody to find at 1 p.m. How do you explain this 3-hour gap? This is trivial. The witness merely forgot the time. After his testimony, I found it hard to believe. Miss Soweit, why are you so certain that you found the body at 1 p.m.? Gee, that's a really good question. Great job, Wright. Way to put him on the spot. That's all you have to do. Point out contradictions. Lies always beget more lies. Beget, czyli że co, kłamstwa zawsze zaczynają następne kłamstwa? See through one and their whole story falls apart. Right, I remember now. How would you care? Would you care to give your testimony again? Ho, ho, ho. Time of discovery. You see, when I found the body, I had the time. There was a voice saying the time. It was probably coming from the television. Oh, but it was 3 hours off, wasn't it? I guess the victim must have been watching a video of a taped program. That's why I thought it was 1 p.m. Terribly sorry about the misunderstanding. Nie mógł słyszeć telewizora, bo nie było prądu. Kłamstwa ciągną inne kłamstwa. No, kłamstwa zaczynają inne kłamstwa, czyli no, tak jak myślałem. Czyli im więcej kłamca kłamie, tym bardziej się zakopuje w swoich kłamstwach. No, kłamstwo ma krótkie nogi, też to jest takie powiedzenie. I see. You heard a voice saying the time on the taped program. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Right. You know what to do. I got this one. Yep. I got this. Tym razem jest prościej. Musimy dojść do momentu, kiedy on mówi o telewizorze. It was probably coming from the television. Spróbujmy go tu przycisnąć. Are you sure it was a television and not a radio? Well, no, I guess it might have been a radio. Incidentally, there was no radio in the premises. There was only one large television, right? I can't put my finger on it, but some things about this seems fishy. Something about hearing the television. The witness has testified he heard the time. Oh, but it was 3 hours off, wasn't it? Dobra, to przyciśmy go tu. Znaczy, przyciskać go nie musimy. Możemy mu zaprezentować, że kłamie, bo nie było prądu w tym czasie, nie mógł słyszeć telewizora. Objection! Hold it right there. The prosecution has said there was a blackout at the time of the discovery. And this record proves it. Phoenix, naprawdę zrobisz dziurę w tym biurku. You couldn't have heard a television or a video. Look. The defense has a point. Do you have an explanation for this, Mr. Sawit? No, I find it quite puzzling myself, Wait! I remember now. Mr. Sawit? The court would prefer to hear an accurate testimony from the very beginning. These constant corrections are harming your credibility. And you see rather these droughts. My apologies, Your Honor. Yeah, must have been the shock of finding the body. Very well, Mr. Sawit. Let's hear your testimony once more, please. Hearing the time. Actually, I didn't hear the time. I saw it. There was a table clock in the apartment, wasn't there? Yeah, the murder weapon. The killer used it to hit the victim. Ale my wiemy, że bronią nie był zegar. Wright uderzył w to biurko z jakieś ponad 5000 razy w ciągu wszystkich gier, które będą. Wiem, i nigdy to biurko się nie zepsuje. To jest najlepsze. Po tych 3 grach, jak ktoś inny przyjdzie do tego biurka, to się będzie zastanawiać, co tu się kurwa stało, że są 2 takie wgłębienia. That must be what I saw. You saw a clock. I guess that would explain it. The defense may cross-examine the witness. Oh. Gladly. Ale mu musi być zimno. Trzęsie się prawie tak jak ja parę dni pod kołdrą. Z 38-stopniową gorączką. I didn't hear time, I saw it. And there was a table clock in the apartment, wasn't there? Yeah, the murder weapon. The killer used it to hit the victim. Tutaj go musimy przycisnąć, tak mi się wydaje. The murder weapon. Yes, the table clock that was used as a weapon. That's what I just said. Did you doze off in the middle of my testimony or something? Something's fishy here. A statue in the shape of the finger. It's rather heavy. To było przedmiotem prawdopodobnie. No, bo możemy się spytać, czy o to mu chodzi. No zobaczmy. Czy to będzie to? Tak, bo muzyka zgasła. Wait just a moment. The murder weapon wasn't a clock. It was this statue. Now, how is it supposed to be a clock? Well, you with your objections are your evidence. Who do you think you are? Just answer the question, Mr. Sawit. Hey, I saw it there, okay? That's a clock. Your Honor, if I may? Yes, Mr. Payne? As the witness stated, this statue is indeed a clock. The neck is a switch. You just tilt it, and it says the time out loud. As it doesn't look like a clock, I submitted it as a statue. My apologies. I see. So the murder weapon was a table clock after all. Poważne problemy z dedukcją mogę mieć w ostatnim akcie tej gry lub w 1N1? Co? INI? W TNT. A, to jest T i T. Zobaczymy, jak mi będzie szło. Well, Mr. Wright, it appears that the witness testimony was correct. This is a clock. Do you have any problems with his testimony now? Yes. Mówił, że widział, że słyszał godzinę, tak? Czy widział godzinę, a musiałby pociągnąć za głowę. Skąd w ogóle wiedział, że to jest zegar? Your Honor, there is a gaping hole in the witness's testimony. The only way he could have known the weapon was a clock is to hold it in his hand. Yet the witness testified that he never entered the apartment. Trials and tribulation. Aha, w ostatniej części. Clearly a contradiction. Indeed. The witness knew it was a clock because he went into the apartment. You're lying. You were inside the apartment on the day of the murder. Oh yeah, prove it. Prove it, I went in there. I'll do better than that. I can prove you were the one who killed her. You struck her with the clock and then the shock of the blow triggered the clock's voice. That was the sound you heard. Rubber. Order in the court. Intriguing. Please continue, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Sawit, the sound must have left quite an impression on you. Understandable, since the murder weapon spoke just as you hit the victim. That voice was burned into your mind. That's why you were so certain about the time. What's the meaning of this? This is all baseless conjecture. Ostatnia część gry jest uważana za koniec serii 2D? Serio? Baseless. Just look at the witness's face. Would the witness care to elaborate? Did you strike the victim with the clock? That day, I never... Look, the clock, I had... No, I mean, I saw... So... God! Shut up, I hate you! The fuck? Mina Feniksa, jak dostał ten tupetem w twarz. I was him. It was him, I tell you, I saw him. He killed her and he should burn. Burn gave him death. Order. Order in the court, I say. Your Honor, a moment, please. There isn't a shred of evidence supporting the defense's claims. Mr. Wright, Your Honor, you claim the sound to the witness the witness heard came from the clock. Do you have any evidence? The whole case is riding on this. I better think it through carefully. Your Honor? No, czy ja mogę zapisać to w trakcie? Mogę. Jakbyśmy tak coś skiepścili. The sound Mr. Sweet heard was definitely this clock. A fact which is clear if you simply try sounding the clock. Let's sound the clock now, here in this court. Your Honor, may I have the clock? Era 3D zaczyna się z Phoenixem Duel of Destiny. Taką grę Full HD w połowie zaczyna Spirit of Justice. O tych częściach ani nie słyszałem. I asked the court to listen very carefully. Beep! I think it's 8:25. That certainly is a strange way to announce the time. Well, he's the thinker after all. So, we heard the clock. What are your conclusions, Mr. Wright? Mr. Payne, can you tell me what time is it now? It's 11:25. As you can see, this clock is exactly 3 hours slow. Precisely the discrepancy between what Mr. Sweet heard and the actual time of death. So, Mr. Sweet, try to talk your way out of this one. Ha! Ha ha! You forgot one thing. Uh-oh. What's he talking about now? While it may seem like that clock is running 3 hours slow, it proves nothing. How do you know it was running 3 hours slow on the day of the murder? If you can't prove that, you don't have a case. Ding! He's right, how am I going to prove that? Damn it, I was so close! Mr. Wright? It seems you lack the critical evidence to support your claim. Yes, Your Honor. This means I cannot let you indict the witness. Unfortunately, this ends the cross-examination of Mr. Frank Sweet. I come all the way down here to testify, and look what happens. You treat me like a criminal. You lawyers are all slime. I almost had him. Sorry, Larry. I failed you. There's nothing I can do about it now. Not so fast, Mr. Sweet. Mia, I mean Chief. Listen up, Wright. Don't throw this one away. Not like this. Think. But Chief, it's over. I can't prove the clock was slow the day of the murder. Nobody can prove that. Well, yes. But that doesn't mean you can't still win. Try thinking out of the box. Don't waste time doubting the facts. Assume the clock was 3 hours slow and think through it. Ask yourself, why was the clock 3 hours slow? Figure out the reasons and you'll have your proof. Right? Can you think of a reason as to why the clock would be 3 hours slow? Ona leciała do Francji, do Paryża, tak? Więc może chodzić o różnicę czasową. Wait! Maybe I can prove it. You must have evidence somewhere that can prove it, right? Find it and let them have it. Well, Mr. Wright, you say the clock was already running slow on the day of murder. Have you found evidence to support this claim? Of course. There is a piece of evidence in the court record that can prove my claim beyond a doubt. Ha! Tough words. Let's see you pull this one off. Let's see this evidence that proves why the clock was running slow. To, że była w Paryżu. No jedyne, co mi przychodzi do głowy. Jedyny dowód, którego jeszcze nie użyliśmy. The victim has just returned from abroad the day before the murder. As we all know, the time difference between here and Paris is 9 hours. When it's 4 p.m. here, it's 1 a.m. the next day there. The clock wasn't 3 hours slow, it was 9 hours fast. The victim hadn't reset her clock since returning home. That's why the time you heard when you struck her head in her apartment was wrong. Proof enough for you, Mr. Sawit? Or should I say, Mr. Did It? Ha! I did it! Dostał wścieklizny. Dzwońcie na 911. Order, order, I say. Well, this case certainly turned out differently than we all expected. Mr. Payne, your witness?
He, was arrested and had been taken away, Your Honor.
Very well. Mr. Wright? I te oczy. Ty tu jeszcze jesteś?
Yes, Your Honor.
I have to say I'm impressed. I don't think I ever seen someone complete a defense so quickly. And find the true culprit at the same time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
At this point, this is only a formality, but this court found the defendant, Miss Larry Butts, not guilty. Whee! Tak, bo konfetti jest. Jak cię nie ogłoszą winnym. And with that, the court is adjourned. Duel of Destiny wprowadza nowego prawnika, Athena Cykes, z jej odczuciem emocji z tekstu A Spirit of Justice, rytuały przywołania, które pozwalają zobaczyć ostatnie sekundy przed śmiercią ofiary. Okej. Tutaj w tym Phoenix Wright też są takie elementy chyba spirytystyczne w pewnym momencie. It turns out that Frank Sawit was a common burglar. He posed as a newspaper salesman to check and see when people were out of the house. That day, when Larry went to her apartment, the victim wasn't home. After he left, Mr. Sawit let himself in to do his dirty work. While he was searching her place, the victim returned. Flustered, Mr. Sawit grabbed the nearest blunt object he could find. 3 sierpnia, 2:32 po południu. Lobby obrońcy numer 2. Phew, I still can't believe we won. Right, good job in there. Congratulations. Thanks, Chief. I owe it all to you. Not at all, not at all. You fought your own battle in there. It's been a while since I've seen a trial end on such satisfying note. I've never seen the Chief looking this happy. If she's this glad, I imagine now Larry must feel. My life is over. Larry, what? You're supposed to be happy. What's wrong now? Musiałbyś kupić konsolę od Nintendo i zakupić Spirit of Justice, a później przesłać to na komputer, aby pokazać to na streamie, żeby w to w ogóle pograć. Nie, raczej nie mam zamiaru kupować konsoli, jak używam kompa. Wiem, że muszę kończyć ten odcinek i ogólnie zrobić przerwę, bo muszę iść wziąć lekarstwa, bo jest godzina 6. Także pauza.